Welcome to the MMT studio. I'm Christina Fugis with MoldMaking Technology, and today I am here with Michael Muth of Slide Products. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Christina.
How are you?
I'm doing great. First of all, thank you so very much for inviting me to participate in the MoldMaking Studio segments. And
it's about time.
It's been a long time. So
thank you for sitting down with us. So let's get into this. So Slide Products, from what I understand, has more than, we're celebrating 25 years, you guys have more than 100 years of field experience, right? And a whole bunch of insight into the needs of this niche marketplace. Mold making, mold building, molding, processors. You guys have insights into that marketplace when it comes to mold care, preventative maintenance. And I noticed even on social media, a very strong digital presence where you share, and I think even one time I actually kind of stole a tip of the month that we ended up reprinting.
Steal away,
right?
You're more than welcome
You approved it, but I stole it.
Absolutely.
So you have a pretty good presence of sharing best practices on how to use your products, but in an educational way, not so much a commercial way, right? So you are doing a good thing with putting content out there.
We're trying,
So in your opinion, what has been an industry favorite of some of the content that you've put out there? Like what has resonated the most with your customers?
Certainly. So as a little background, about 18 months ago, we had our entire team of Slide Factory experts and representatives in for a meeting. And during that meeting, we realized, counted up, between the five of us, we've had over 100 years, as you mentioned, of field experience, helping our customers, being in the field, sharing best practices, seeing what they're doing, seeing the problems, making recommendations for processes and different products for them to do. And we thought, well, why don't we try to make that available more readily to the people, so that instead of us having to be in person at a particular molder in Loveland, Colorado, and we can share with them those practices, let's put them on paper. So we created a whole series of little one-page documents, one-page PDF files. We've printed them out. We got hard copies we share as well, that we want to share with everybody. And so we've posted them on our website, and with the tracking that we can do on our website from the downloads, you
gotta love that.
Oh yeah, everything's tracking these days, right? It's all data, it's all numbers. Exactly. So what we've determined and what we've learned is that the best practices document on proper ejector pin lubrication procedures and products is the most popular that we've offered. It's been downloaded almost twice as much as any other of the files we have. So tells us there's a definite need out there to learn about it. And it's funny, it's an ejector pin, and the lubrication of it is kind of a minuscule aspect when it comes to mold making and plastic processing, but it's such an important aspect that if you get wrong, it's going to cost you a lot of time and a lot of money. So when we take kind of a holistic view of it, we look at it and go, it's a simple element of the entire mold making and plastic processing segment, but it's very important to customers. So we want to share all that.
Simple things. It's sometimes the simple things that can get maybe taken for granted.
Absolutely.
Right, and they're overlooked, and then that's where big mistakes happen. I was just having that conversation with the previous person I talked to. So there's definitely a theme there about not taking for granted the simple components that are essential to a mold.
Right.
All right, so you have mold cleaners, you have rust preventatives, you have releases and MRO products. We could review all of that stuff. We're not going to go down the whole catalog.
Some other time.
Feel free to visit Slide Products website.
Thank you.
Why don't you what do you consider, and maybe you don't want to say this, what do you consider Slide's #1 product to a mold builder?
To a mold builder, sir. So I don't want to give away a whole lot of corporate secrets, but before I joined the company, so about 40 years ago, we introduced a rather unique rust preventative formulation. It's named our Mold Shield Dry Rust Preventative. And it's got a lot of great characteristics that mold makers and plastic processors really appreciate. First of all, it has a moisture displacing element. So it'll wick away existing moisture and then prevent any future moisture from getting at that tool steel and causing oxidation and rust and problems later on when you go to use put that mold back into production. It also has some acid neutralization features, so some of the common resins that we use these days are some of the flame retardant additives that will emit an acid element to it that can actually damage a mold. We can actually help to neutralize through a base material, neutralize that acidic element, so that's very important to molders. And then the third feature is it's got a unique dry characteristic to it. So the oils that we use in that particular formulation and the particular blend of ingredients allow the protective oils to kind of set up on the mold surface. And it's a very unique product. Not a lot of other people offer such a product. And what that allows is the mold maker or the tool maker, when they're taking their mold and putting it back into production, they can very easily, very quickly, and very efficiently, without losing a lot of time and and processing ability, clean that tool off and remove that rust preventative coating from the tool surface. So I would say, that is probably the one introduction that has had the most dramatic impact. We go to customers and we see them every day. We've got salespeople on the road, and we'll spray a typical wet rust preventative product, and we'll spray it right next to our dry product, and they look at it and go, that would be so much easier to use. So we hear over and over again, it's a time saver, it's a money saver, it's a productivity enhancer for our customers. So I would say that our slide mold shield is probably the biggest.
I have to ask, what is, like going out to shops, what is the craziest, or without insulting a particular customer, the craziest or most stupidest thing like you've seen them do when it comes to like
safety.
Maintenance side? Safety?
Safety. We see a lot of crazy safety things. We see a lot of crazy just molding environments, dirty environments. So
and in today's
I know. It's hard to imagine some of the things that we see in there. But then, on the other hand, we'll go to some plants that you could eat off the floor.
Exactly.
Some of them are so meticulous and so careful with what they do, and take such pride in their facilities that it's almost inspirational at times when you walk into some of those places.
It runs the gamut. I know.
It really does. You've been in those plants too.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
Beautiful.
One end to the other. But they're all
making product.
They're
all making molds.
They're all making quality work too.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, that's what matters.
It is.
That's ultimately what matters.
All right. So before my last question, what is your top recommendation to help our little niche audience here to improve their performance and profitability? Like you have one thing.
One thing. Yeah. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart, near and dear to my company's heart, and I got to say, this is our 70th anniversary. So
happy anniversary!
Thank you. Slide Products. We've been around since 1953. Started out of a trunk of our founder's car. He was selling tool steel to mold makers in 1953, and they came to him and said, "Hey, we need some help with processing. Our products are sticking, and the molds are rusting. What can you do?" And he literally had some stuff batched up, and he sold it out of his trunk.
Oh my gosh!
And so here we are, third generation. We're still a family-owned company. 70 years later. It's an accomplishment that I'm extremely proud of.
That's wonderful.
And our entire company embraces that history, and
that's just like your customers. There's so many stories of your customers.
Been around forever, So that's something really cool. But going back to your question, one of the things that we stress at Slide, and why this is such a near and dear topic to me, is we're always trying to ask the question of why do we do it that way. And we look at that from our internal operations, but then when we're out seeing customers, we try to kind of subtly ask them that same sort of question, because it can be a contentious topic at the same time if you're too forceful when you ask it. But we try to subtly kind of bring that into the conversation. And the reason we do that is that human nature is such that the inertia of just doing things the way you've always done them is such a powerful force. And change is something that people naturally just resist against. And so if we can start the conversation and help our customers take a look at what are we doing and why are we doing it, then we feel that's a very value-added question just to ask and a discussion to have with them. And what we'd say is that 80 to 90% of the time when we ask that question of our customers, the answer they give us is, well, that's just the way we've always done it.
I knew you were going to say that.
Or they'll say, well, that's just how I was trained. And it works, and so why do we want to change it? So let me share a story that I've shared with numerous people over the years. About 15 years ago, I was asked by a customer in Ohio. They have 3 injection molding facilities from Cleveland to Cincinnati. And they asked, come in, please do an audit of our facility. We think we're spending too much money on mold release, we're buying from Slide. Can you come in and help us look at what we're doing and maybe reduce our costs? And first of all, that's kind of an odd question, because it's going to result in a reduction in sales, but at the same time, we're all about satisfying the customer and helping to provide support to them. So I went over there, did the rounds. Day 2, I was in their 3rd facility, and I was watching one particular operator, and it was very easy to see that she was spraying our mold release product on the mold cavity every 3 cycles. Every 3 cycles, part, spray, just boom, and she was just repetitious. And so I asked her, why are you doing every 3 cycles? And she said, as the typical answer is, that's what I was told to do, and if I spray every 3 cycles, the parts come out and they don't stick. So I watched a couple of other operators nearby, and they were also doing the same sort of system. Every 3 cycles, they'd spray mold release. So I asked the supervisor to come over and explain kind of what I had noticed, and said, can we have a little bit of latitude? Let's run some tests. And sure, go for it. So we cleaned the mold surface off, reapplied a normal coating of mold release, and we instructed the operator, just run parts until they start sticking. Let's see how far you can go. And that first cycle, I still remember, was 19 parts before they saw any sort of sticking. So I'm looking around, and the supervisor's kind of like, this is interesting, and I said, can we do it again? So we did it for about an hour. We finally settled on about 15 parts was kind of the sweet spot. After 15 parts, they'd start to see a little bit of sticking. And so we ran for a couple hours where instead of every 3 cycles, they were applying the mold release every 15 cycles. And after 2 hours of doing that, he shut down their entire facility, rewrote their process, instructed every operator of their 32 injection machines to now go to every 15 cycles. So he was able to cut their mold release usage by probably 75 or 80% by just asking that simple question of why do we do it this way? And that's, it goes to the whole continuous improvement thing. Why do we do this? And it's something, like I said, that we look at slide products with our operations, our sales. How can we do things better? That's the genesis of this best practices folder that we offer to customers. What are we doing? How can we do it better? And how can we be more of a support system for our customers?
That is an incredible story. So, actually, that's the basis of probably a story we should do in mold making, is just that. To get people thinking, you got to question what you're doing. Absolutely. You got to look at your processes regular and why are you doing it.
All the time.
That is huge.
All the time, yeah.
All right, last but not least, we are celebrating our 25 years, as you know.
Yes,
this is our commemorative top 10 reasons to be a mold maker over the 25.
Yep.
But I want to ask you,
yes, ma'am,
the next 25 years, what excites you the most about mold making?
Yeah, so we've always looked at mold making as kind of a bellwether industry for the processors. So it's something that we track, we monitor very closely. I love your index that's in the back of the magazine every month, so it gives me a clue of, kind of the ebbs and flows in the industry, and are we trending up, trending down. So for us, it's kind of the canary in the coal mine. If mold builders are busy and working right now, we know in 6 to 9 months, the plastic processors are going to be busy as heck as well. So it's something that's very important for us to do, and we're really excited by the outlook that we're reading right now about the expected increase and growth in the need for molds and dies up to at least 2026.
Yep.
And a lot of that's going to be driven by the electric car introductions. I know a lot of people are waiting on pins and needles for that next release of jobs to be done later this year.
Yep.
But we're really excited by that because we know that it means that mold builders are going to be busy, die makers are going to be busy, plastic processors are going to be busy, we're going to be busy. It allows us to position ourselves to really be in a way that we can support our customers as they continue to grow in both the processing as well as the mold making segment.
So win-win for everybody.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So that's very important for us, is watching that industry.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Michael.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for sitting down.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. And for everything mold making, visit moldmakingtechnology.com.